Okay, this is part 2 of our measurement conversions lesson. Please make sure that you have your notes, fill them out as we go along, pause the video whenever necessary, and let's get started. Okay, these problems are a little bit different from day 1 in that there's an extra step that we need to do. So let's go ahead and look at this first problem. Mr. Vargas lives 1 3/10 miles from where he works. How many feet is this? Okay, so first we need to figure out what we're comparing here. We're comparing miles to feet. Okay. So looking at our reference chart, you can see that miles doesn't go straight to feet. It's not a side-by-side comparison. Here are your miles and your feet are down here. So this is the extra step that we have to perform. We need to figure out 1 mile is going to equal how many feet. And to do that, we just work our way up by multiplying. So we start with the smallest, the 3 feet, and we go up to the next level, which is 1,760 yards. So we need to multiply these two. So 1,760 times 3, 0. 3 times 6 is 18, carry the 1. 21 plus 1 is 22, carry a 2. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5. So we can see that 1 mile is equivalent to 5,280 feet. So this is our reference chart formula, or reference chart rate. So 1 mile and 5,280 feet. Now that we've done that, we go back to what we did in part 1. We can set up the proportion. We're given in our problem 1.3 miles, so the miles goes on the top, 1.3 miles. And we're looking for the number of feet. This is our unknown. We'll use the variable n. Now we're going from miles to feet, from the known to the unknown, so we're going from the top to the bottom. So what is the scale factor? To go from 1 to 5,280, we multiply by 5,280. We do the same thing over here, multiply by 5,280. Again, we have a decimal value. So we take away the decimal, and this becomes 13. So we're going to multiply 5,280 times 13. Do the math. 3 times 0 is 0. 3 times 8 is 24. Carry the 2. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8. And 3 times 5 is 15. I'm ready to move to my tens digit, so I have to put a placeholder in the ones. And now I just multiply by the 1. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 8 is 8. Make sure to keep everything lined up. 1 times 2 is 2, and 1 times 5 is 5. Then we're going to add them together. We get 0, 4, 8 plus 8 is 16, carry the 1. 5 plus 1 is 6, plus 2 is 8, and 1 plus 5 is 6. But we're not quite done. Come back, we have 1 decimal place. So we need 1 decimal place in our answer. The decimal point goes there. So 1 3/10 miles is equal to 6,864 feet. And that is our answer. So we're going to solve the proportion, set it up and solve it just like we did in part 1. There's just a step that we have to do beforehand, this step right here. So let's try another one. The length of a piece of fabric is 2.5 meters long. How many millimeters is this? So what are the measurements that we're comparing? Meters and millimeters. So look at your reference chart. And this is in the metric system. So our meters right here. And is it a side-by-side comparison? No, because the side-by-side comparison is meters to centimeters. And we want to go from meters to millimeters down here. So we're going to have an extra step. We're going to have to figure out how many millimeters 1 meter equals. So you start at the smallest number, which is down here, the 10, and we're going to multiply going up. So we're going to multiply 10 times 100, and that will give us the number of millimeters there are in a meter. So you can do the 100 times 10, or you can do the mental math. There are 1, 2, 3 zeros. So we need a 1 and 1, 2, 3 zeros. So 1 meter is equal to 1,000 millimeters. That is the rate that we know. That's our reference chart rate. So we're going to write it, set up a proportion. 1 meter is equal to 1,000 millimeters. And now we go back to our problem. What are we given in our problem? We're given 2.5 meters. So that's going to go on the top because the meters are on top. And we're going to write that in decimal form, 2.5 meters. And we're looking for the number of millimeters. So that's our unknown, our n variable. Okay, let's find our scale factor. We're going from top to bottom again, from 1 to 1,000. So we multiply by 1,000. Use the same scale factor on this side of the proportion. And I'm going to use the mental math. We're multiplying by 1,000, so there are 3 zeros. We need to increase by 3 place values. So we move the decimal point 3 places to the right. 1 place, 2 place, 3 places. Our decimal point goes here. We have 2 empty holes, so we have to fill those with zeros. So our answer is 2,500 millimeters. Example 3. A cafeteria has 6 gallons of juice to serve in the morning. How many 8-ounce glasses can they serve? Okay, what are we comparing? We're comparing gallons and ounces. So we need to look at our reference chart. And this is customary under the volume. So we come down, here's the gallons right here. Is it a side-by-side comparison? No, because ounces are all the way at the bottom. So we're going to have an extra step to do. We need to figure out 1 gallon is going to equal how many fluid ounces. So we're going to multiply. We start at the bottom, the 8, multiply it times the 2, and we get 16. Multiply 16 times this 2, and we get 32. And multiply the 32 times the 4. And we get 128. So 1 gallon is equal to 128 fluid ounces. And now we can set up a proportion. So we know from the reference chart that 1 gallon is equal to 128 fluid ounces. And in our problem, we're told that there are 6 gallons. So that's going to go in the numerator. And we're looking for the number of fluid ounces. That's our unknown, our variable n. Let's find our scale factor. We're going from the top to the bottom, from the known to the unknown. So we're going to go from 1 to 128. To do that, we multiply by 128. We do the same thing over here. Use the same scale factor. I'm going to do my math. 128 times 6. 6 times 8 is 48, carry your 4. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 4 is 16, carry a 1. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 1 is 7. And there are no decimal points, no decimal places, so 768. 6 gallons is equivalent to 768 fluid ounces. All right, but did we answer the question? Did they ask us how many fluid ounces were in 6 gallons? No. They asked how many 8-ounce glasses can they serve. So we know how many total ounces there are, 768. So how many glasses, 8 ounces, can we get from 768? Well, it's a division problem. So we're going to have to go 768 and divide this by 8. Okay, 8 does not go into 7, so I'm going to put a 0 above the 7. 8 will go into 76 9 times, which is 72. Subtract 6 minus 2 is 4. 7 minus 7 is 0. Bring down this 8. And 8 will go into 48 6 times, which is 48 with a 0 remainder. So the answer would be that they can serve 96 glasses. Okay, now you're ready for your independent practice. Go ahead and complete the 3 problems. Make sure that you are setting up your proportions and showing your work. When you've solved all 3, take them to your teacher so that they can check it.